All right, everybody, away we go. Welcome to today's call. It is Friday and November 22nd of 2019, nearing Thanksgiving in the States. Looking forward to doing today's call as always. I know that some of you have done recorded calls over the last couple of days. So when I open up the microphones, if you are one of those people and you wanted your stuff looked at, I will look through my emails and make sure that I dig up what I see. Problem is, if I don't get it right before, it gets buried, as you can imagine. So I'll take a look through and looking for some stuff. I know that pretty sure that I got a couple recordings here, so I'll take a look for those. But anyway, to make a long story short, I need your calls. I need to hear the other side of the conversation with the consumer, and you need to hear them, whether it's you or whatever it might be, that we need to hear. Where are you at? You're in like fairyland if you don't know what's going on. And dealing with Chris Kleba and his team, he actually had some effectiveness going on the phones and didn't even realize it to the extent that he should have. And so I've asked him to say, okay, well, listen, if you have delegated the responsibility of telemarketing in your organization to somebody else, and you have then abdicated the management responsibility, that's on you. So we need to go back and we need to listen to, number one, have we set somebody up on our team for success, including ourselves, if we're doing it correctly? In other words, do we even understand what we're supposed to be doing in a scripted way? Yesterday's mastermind was wildly powerful because our Thursday call with our mastermind level is intended to make sure that we are thinking through what we do. Spend some time thinking. I'm listening to an audio book called The Road Less Stupid, and it's just all about that thinking time, that beat. And he actually references Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. So there it is in the title, think. You have to think your way strategically into telemarketing, into outside sales. And then what you'll see over time is if you've done it long enough like me, or even in a short period of time, you practice the right things, you see the symbiotic relationship between all your phone work setting you up for in the field work. They're not disjointed, they're not disconnected. And if they are, shame on you as a marketer, telemarketer, and then an outside sales agent in the field. If you don't understand that flow of everything, every step in a process all the way from marketing through conversion, which includes telemarketing, follow-up calling in the field, client onboarding, all of that should be seamless, and it should feel like they fit together like pieces of a puzzle. And that's what these phone calls and things should sound like. Okay, so I am going to open up the microphones, and I'm going to need some help here. I see all you on Facebook and some others on YouTube and others online. So wherever you want to get me a question, I'll try to pay attention to all my venues here, and we can go from there. Okay, let's get a roll and open up the mics. Remember, *6 mutes your microphone, or just mute it however you want to, and that way I don't have to play policeman with the background. All right, here we go. Who's up first? Look at you, all the fumbling and stumbling with microphones, but nobody's got a sales question today, right? Sarah Corey, yeah, go ahead. There we have somebody finally. Go ahead.
It's Terry.
Oh, the one and only Terry. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Good. What do you got for me?
These expired that I'm doing.
Yep.
When people say that they have rented it out temporarily because it wasn't selling and they weren't getting what they want, I want to get them the package out and follow up with them because they may not be sticking to that. You know what I mean? They could want to sell it later, but I lost as to what the conversation is.
Yeah, cool. Excellent. Because they
should be.
Excellent, because we hear that a lot. It's actually a common, frequently stated objection, as we like to refer to them, right? So in other words, it's a put off, right? Hi, man, would you like to try on some shoes? No, I'm just looking. It's one of those, right? But it could be legitimate. We need to figure that out. So what you do is you ask the practical questions. Oh, good for you. How long did you rent it for? Oh, really? Nice couple, family. And when you say temporarily, did you go for is it a short-term rental or what's the term? So you just start to ask questions about the rental, because what you're trying to determine is now, has their timing and motivation been put off by what number of months? So it's a new discovery phase. And also to legitimize if it's really a rental. You'll know pretty quickly whether they're just blowing you off or they actually did rent it, right? I mean, you'll know that very quickly. Follow me?
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's the whole concept, is to just go into the details about the rental. That's what you need to do, right? That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Now, having said that, the question more so is about continuity. You know, what are we doing? Hey guys, someone's fumbling with a mic. Can you just star six yourself? Like wrestling with a microphone or something there. So because this is a really good question she asked. So now the question is, have you given them some sort of an upgrade? You know what I mean? Like, have you offered them something that will continuously put together that whole, continuous information and insight highway that you're building with them, right? That privacy. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yep.
so now.
I mean, I know we're setting up generically just because our booklet is it's done, but it's being printed, and so I don't have anything super tangible to send out at this present moment, but I have them all in the system to be able to do that the second those come in.
Okay, so that's the physical mailer, which really transforms the relationship, because now they have something physical. They can see what's in it for them, but more importantly, they can see your professionalization, right? So we understand the value of that. But really what I'm talking about is one step further on continuity, because you have them on the phone. So getting on them on the phone, I don't have to tell you, after you've done this, what now, 5 years or so? I mean, I don't have to tell you the value of getting that 8% or so on the phone to have a conversation. Well, that's your golden moment. So the real question begs is, how much can we achieve in that moment, right? That's the key point. How much can we achieve in that moment to do what? Build relationship. Build some continuous type of conversation. So the one-off is, hey, look, what I'd like to do is send you out this package, like I said, and it'll help you. I understand that you've rented, right? And so what I'll do, and we talked about this yesterday in the mastermind, you have to be very clear. What I'll do is give you a call within a week to make sure it arrives. Is that okay? See, they just gave you permission, so they're getting used to saying yes to you, right? Follow me? May I send this? Yes, you may. Okay. Yep. All right, I'm going to send this. Let me confirm the address. Wonderful. I'll call you within a week to make sure it arrives. Would that be okay? Sure. Okay. Now, when I call back, the premise is that this thing has arrived. And I was talking to Brett Hauer, I used to coach some time ago, has come back now, trying to systematize himself. And he understood the same thing. It's like, oh my gosh, what happened is I atrophied away from this sort of 1, 2, 3, very clear performance, along this conversion. What's in it for them? What's in it for them? What's in it for them? So what's in it for them is the package. What's in it for them is you'll ensure the package arrives. Then when you call, now the question begs is, what's in it for them next? Because you just determined they had the rental. You know what to do about the rental, about asking, timing, motivation, based on that rental. Oh, great. So you rented it for what? 7 months, 8 months, 12 months? Because now you can see, and it's a month to month, or is it a term? Because that matters. Because what if somebody gives them an out 30 days and you got it down for 12 months and they're gone in 6 and you missed it, right? So the more specificity on the rental agreement, the better. But my point is, for generically, when that package goes and arrives, it's going to transform the relationship that you have with them. There's no doubt about it, right? So when you call back, it's another opportunity to take the relationship based on information and insight. I'm going to put those 2 words on the table often. Information and insight, you could take it deeper. What would you offer? Okay, great, you got it, wonderful. Oh yeah, it was so good, it was helpful, but as you know, I'm locked into this rental. Now what? Now what can you do? Because you've given one piece of information, it's physical, but you're done. Now what?
Well, and that's just it. I mean,
no, think. It's not just, hold on. You got stuck there. Think simple.
Yeah.
If I just sent them, let's go back. What did you just send them in one static package? What did you send them?
You mean in
the package? I mean, what's in the package? Terry, what's going to be in the package? Simple questions. You're already up in your head. Hold on. I'm losing you. You're getting up in your head thinking there's a trick question here and there's not, right? So I'm just asking you simply, what is going in the package when you send it that's of value to them? There's 2 things, 2 major things, other than the cover letter, which explains what it is. What are the 2 things?
What we can do for them and why we can do it better.
No. Yep. It's so simple. When you send something to an expired or a home evaluation and you want to send them something that's helpful to them, it's really a pre-listing package. So what's in there, 5 or 6 comparables with pictures and details of properties that sold in the price range they think theirs is worth, and our 7 steps, period. Don't ever forget it again. Like you just got way out over your skis trying to make something up and you fell right into what everybody else, well, we're better than every like it's like a buzzer. It's like a game. I like to hit that every time we just go off into this nonsensical thing. We forget what is important to them. If you're selling your property with or without me, you're going to need to consider things that sold in your neighborhood in that price range. What did the money buy? I know you got copper nails and, silver gutters, and I get it, but these are the things that buyers just said yes to. That goes to them. Not too much of it. It's information. Okay. Yes, presumably they could get it anywhere, but the value is your insight that it takes to pick up 5 or 6 of the right ones to send them, to narrow them down, and to save them the time and give them the convenience of having it all packaged up. But then there's what they need. It's the 7 steps that we take people through. If you and Karen are not connected to a 7-step process, then that's another problem, right? Follow me? Strategically, it's another problem.
Yeah.
So you don't even know the value of what you're sending yet. And that would put you in a big boat with a lot of people. So that's why we're pounding on this, right? We are pounding on this. It is really, really important to understand the value of what you're sending is setting up you or them to get in the house. We're all trying to get in the house, aren't we?
Right, absolutely.
Okay, so why did you go down the path of where you went and you were not able to state that? You know what the book is, I assume.
Yeah, because I put it together.
Okay, did you read it?
Karen has.
Did you read it?
Together, but I mean, Karen has.
Did you read it?
Yes.
You're sure? You can tell me the truth. Plead guilty now. Let me catch you lying about it, because lying is only going to hurt you. Did you read it top to bottom?
Oh no, I didn't read it.
Okay, good. So tell me the truth. Don't put me off, because I know what a put off sounds like. Hold on. Read it. And the reason you're going to read it is because you're offering something of value, and you lose your integrity if you don't even know what it is. Follow me?
Yeah.
You lose your integrity. You do not become believable. You are detached from what's in that package, and you don't sell it with enthusiasm. You don't understand it. You don't understand the power of the guidance. See, you're trying to sell her into the house, and she also makes this mistake because she has not been well groomed on the sell side by her own admittance to me seeking my guidance on this side, right? That makes sense?
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So therein lies the problem with all this stuff, is that we need to pay attention to knowing what our value is, productizing it, talking about it on the phone or face-to-face, getting it to people, and then following up on it to see what's next. You're giving, in essence, a synopsis of what makes you unique and different without having to say, because we're better, because we're faster, because we're stronger, right? Which is all gratuitous nonsense to the human being on the other side. Who cares? I don't know you. And now you sound like everybody else. So we have to be different or unique in the approach to say, look, with or without us, that's the key premise here. With or without Karen, with or without me, we're going to send you some information that will help you sell it, in this case, expired the next time. In the case of over the net home evaluation, get it right the first time. We're going to send you some information that will help you sell it correctly the first time. Well, what do you mean? Doesn't everybody? No, they do not. I'm going to actually give you what I would add insight to if you let me into the house as well. But I'm going to give it to you anyway. I'm going to give you 5 or 6. And even if they challenged me to say, well, what do you mean? Well, I'm going to give you 5 or 6 properties in that neighborhood in the price range that you think you're in. So you're going to tell me it's worth X, right? What's it worth? Well, 725. Good. I'm going to go a little bit below to about 675, and I'm going to go up to about 8. And I'm going to try to find within the last 6 months in your neighborhood, not going out too far, what that kind of money bought. We're not going to argue whether you think it's like those or not. That's what that money bought. Because buyers have choices, and you're going to be one of them. And here's what they chose recently. An indicator of what happened recently is a decent indicator of what could happen going forward. So you need to understand that, Terry. If you don't send one of these packages to yourself, to your home, and receive it and experience it, read through the cover letter, refer to the included materials. Then you don't know what you're doing on the phone. Got it?
Right. Yeah. And so I have one that I'm finally, I mean, I've had a couple that I've gotten on the hook and she's gone, and unfortunately they didn't pan out. We were beat out or whatever. But I have one lady who expired less. And it's so crazy because it was a story that you got recently, I don't remember whose call it was, but she's 84. She has cancer. She has to get this place sold. But she went ahead and did an appraisal, and she came in at a certain number, but she expired at a number less than that.
Okay. And
So trying to get her, because she has all of these chemo appointments and stuff like that, and so she did say that she would love to sit down and talk to Karen, because she also had a bad experience where she had it on there because people left lights on. They stole some of her curtains, which is very odd, and there were doors that were left unlocked. So she also has this story behind it now too, that every agent is going to be as careless.
okay,
right?
and keep going. I got enough now. Keep going. What's your challenge?
Correct. So I'm working on trying to get Karen obviously just in front of her, so that hopefully Karen can show her compassion. She can show, her understanding and kind of turn this experience around for this woman, and we can get it sold. But the thing that I worry about, and maybe it's not my job to worry about it, is she now has in her mind, because she had this appraisal a certain number, and when we're looking at it, I don't know.
Stop. Your brain is really noisy today.
You have enough.
Yeah, I do. But I want you to hear it. And the reason I want to stop you, I love you. So, you're my friend for a long time, and you can trust me and I can trust you, so that we can go there on a call like this. Okay. So I want everybody to understand I have long context with Terry. And when Terry comes to me, she legitimately comes to me to wrestle with things like Laura does. Right. So here's the thing. The reason I'm stopping her, I would sound obnoxious if you were a first passerby here, but your problem is all that stuff. Your ability and your understanding of the microeconomics of process are there, but you're allowing all this noise to come in. These are anecdotes. It's almost like what the brain does to shut it down. Laura and I had a long conversation about the animal brain. Your animal brain is making all this noise, and actually it's having the opposite effect. Instead of making life easier, you're making your own life and Karen subsequently more complicated. So I'm worried about this and I'm worried about that. Why? Who are you to inflict you? Yeah, hold on. But hold on. Hold on. Let me finish the complete thought. Who are you to inflict your worry outside of a systematic approach? It's not your problem. The issue is she thinks it's worth this. She expired less than that. She thinks it's worth this because of an appraisal. Well, guess what the lady already knows? The appraisal wasn't worth the paper it was printed on. She already knows that. She's already given somebody before you a price reduction. It's already failed there. So does the lady feel taken advantage of, which is the number one thing most people are worried about happening to them? Yes. Okay. So your job is to just soften it all up. Say, this is not the first time we've seen that happen with an appraisal. But I'm sure Karen, when she comes over, will add her insight. She will add her insight to all this information that's confusing you. She's very good at it. But it's important she gets in the house to see the product, to try to understand maybe what happened. Okay? And regardless of the woman's story, with all its high drama, which is legitimate, painful, this is why most people make a move, death, divorce, job movement, sickness. We end up in a lot of these hairy situations, but our job is not to get caught up in their drama. Okay? Our job is to hear it, empathize with it, and be a solution that lessens their anxiety burden about this housing situation. She needs to sell it. She wants to sell it. She's motivated at a 10. If she says all those things, then your job is to avoid getting caught up in the drama and to just show her that you are in command of one piece of this, and that is to get this property sold. Don't worry about that. We've seen that happen before. In fact, I heard a bank president once say that they're worth the paper they're printed on, and that's not how you make a market for a property. Karen's very good at that. So let's get her in there and she'll talk to you. You have completed your task.
Okay.
That's it. All that other stuff is in your head, and you can't be logical. Laura and I talked about this. It is the emotional persona that we have, that we all fight against, and the logical one. And the more that we allow the emotional one to talk that fast, that loud, that much, we're losing the logic. And when we lose the logic, we're not able to keep ourselves inside the guardrails. Subsequently, the person on the other end of the phone or across the table feels that we're not really quite inside the guardrails. And we lose to somebody else who has better emotional control and feels more organized. People will go with the people they perceive to give them the best chance to resolve their situation. Follow me? Not the ones they like the most. I know about all this no like and trust stuff, and it definitely is part of it. But ultimately, somebody is going to choose somebody that they perceive gives them the best chance to solve the issue. Got it?
Yep.
Really good anecdote, though. But the key is, when you write it down somewhere, exercise the highest level of emotional intelligence in every moment that you can, so that you stick to the logic of the system. And that's why I always say, stick to the yellow brick system. That's the thing that has helped me over time. I mean, Terry, in the last 36 months alone, especially 24 months, we are so sticking to a formula that we believe totally benefits the consumer, that most of what we do is succinct, it's concise, it's precise, and people are having a much better experience all the way through this process with us because we just stick to the steps. We don't get caught up, and everybody has drama, man. You should see some of the drama we have to deal with. Yeah. It's big, but we stay logical, right? And people appreciate it. And people even plead guilty. Oh my gosh, I'm sure you have never had to deal with somebody like me. I say, no, actually, quite frankly, all the time, because we catch people in these heightened moments around the real estate transaction, which exacerbates, anxiety that exists anyway. You got kids that have special needs. You got someone that's got a sickness. You got divorce, all these things. And now you have to sell a house. Wow. It's a lot. So if we lose ourselves to the drama, it doesn't mean we shouldn't be empathetic. We should be 100% empathetic. We should lean in. We should listen. Why are you saying, oh my gosh, that's awful. I knew a friend that was in that same situation. So let me guess, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're a 10, huh? Yes. All right. Well, look I got you. I'm going to come over and I'm going to sit with you. But first, I'm going to have Laura ask you some questions so that when I come there, I'm really prepared. So she'll be calling you within the next couple hours. See, I always go back to the system, Terry. Always. Got it?
Got it.
Okay, cool. All right, let's move off of that. Adam Kuchik, are you in the call? Because you did send me something. Chris, are you in the call? I'm going to call out to those two people to see if I have either one of them on here live, because they were kind enough to send me some stuff. Either one of you guys? One of you guys, maybe either Chris Kleber or Adam, you typically come in on the Facebook group. So I think you might be there. Well, hello. Who's that? Who do I have? Okay. All right, guys, I can see it's like close to Thanksgiving and you're already thinking you have a turkey hangover. So I'm going to just take the bull by the horns. I'm going to run with this. Adam.
I do have a question.
Okay, there you go.
I have a question.
Go.
This is Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca.
So, how's it going, Danny?
Good.
Okay, great. So, very similar to your previous question that you were addressing, it's been a trend for like the last 2 weeks that people are either leasing out their home now successfully. Like this one guy, I had 5 calls yesterday, and all 5 of them were like that. So it's an interesting thing. My question to you is this: when people start talking about the market, they, this week I've had like 8 people withdrawing their home off the market because it's the holidays.
Yep.
And thinking that because the market's changing, they keep saying, well, housing prices in the Bay Area are dropping. Every time I do comparisons myself, when I look online, I see all these, the housing prices are going down. So I'm going to take my house off the market for a while.
Okay.
How do I address that, keeps them interested in us.
Oh, hold on. You
the
don't.
conversation.
Yeah, you don't. Hold on. You don't. I mean, that could be a legitimate thing, but what you learn from experience in real estate is, oh, were you thinking about putting it back on in the first quarter of 2020? What's your perception of what's going to be better then? Why were you selling in the first place? What was your motivation to move? Because nobody has a crystal ball, but let's just look at the facts. Interest rates are low. They've stayed low for a reason. They're the thing that are buoying, that's buoying or supporting what should be a correcting marketplace. We are artificially, with lower interest rates, keeping real estate prices steady, and they should be correcting. So imagine that this is almost a flotation device underneath the real estate market, and especially where you are, where things are just ridiculously overinflated. Our Boston, office has experienced ridiculously overinflated stuff as well, whereas Cape Cod's been normalized ever since the last recession. So anything priced right down there, just be talking to yourself. So imagine that we are correcting. There's no doubt, but we're being buoyed or softened. That correction is being softened by these interest rates that are so low. Because as prices come off, interest rates are low, all of a sudden somebody who's renting in the Bay Area says, I've got some money saved. I can do a low down payment loan. I have good credit. Why don't I go and just buy myself something now? And so that's beginning to happen. But this all comes back to timing and motivation, Rebecca, of why were they doing it in the first place? When you look to the seller qualifying questionnaire, one of the most important things that I want to know is why you're selling. And then after the why, on a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you? You might have a good why, but you might not be motivated enough yet to sell. So to go into those conversations first, because you're asking me down the line questions. How do I keep them interested in us? How do I keep them? Well, we haven't asked enough questions about them. So how do I know how to answer? You follow me? Like you're not into them enough, right? So go there. And that's why it's good second question here. I just told her, don't get caught up in the high drama, but capital B-U-T, you got to get back to why were they doing it in the first place? Okay. Geez, sounds like your plans changed. You were going to sell it. It didn't happen. And then you rented it. Did your personal plans change? Why were you selling it to begin with? Right? Why did you rent it? Did you have to rent it to cover the mortgage? If you can get into that conversation with a curious, truly curious heart, truly caring heart about why they're in this in the first place, that's what gets you moving in a direction of support. Now, as you begin to demonstrate that in a truthful way, guess what happens? That trust factor is building. Now, when that phase or that beat comes to an end, now you can circle back and say, all right, well, look, here's what I can do for you. Now, having heard what your situation is, now having heard that you're down the line and you would like to relist it, let me send you out some information that'll help you sell it the next time. Okay. And if they ask what's that, what's in it, well, a couple pictures and properties, it's stuff that did sell and sold at good prices, regardless of what's happening in the marketplace. But more importantly, a strategic approach that Gail uses with her clients so that they're set up for success no matter what the market's doing. Right. So now all of a sudden they begin to lean in because why? You sound different. You sound like maybe in spite of market conditions, a strategic approach could get them what they want, but they have to meet you with true motivation and they have to still have access to the property and not have rented it where they can't intrude on that person. That makes sense?
Great. What about if we've already sent them the CMA and they've looked at it and maybe put it on a shelf? I think that's great advice, what you just said, for those we haven't quite sent it to or are in the process of sending.
Okay, good. I got you. You're looking for the next phase. Yeah, you're looking for the next phase. I think it's very important that when you get permission, Rebecca, to send that to somebody, you book a very clear, at least accepted second permission that you will be calling within a week to make sure they received it. You don't just send it blindly. You say, great, I'm going to get this out to you, but I'm going to call you next week. I'll try you next Wednesday. So if next Friday. Today's Friday. Let's give it a week to get there. Make sure it gets there. I'll give you a buzz next Friday if that's okay to make sure it happened. May I do that? Yes, you may. Wonderful. Now you call back and you're in the position you want to be in, and they're kind of wishy-washy. Thanks so much. This package was great. but I'm still just not going to do anything until the spring. No problem. Were there any questions about the package, or did that provoke anything, that we could help with? Nah, not really. Okay, well, look, let me tell you. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get you set up on the MLS as well, so that what I sent you, those 6 properties that sold, I'm going to set you up so that between now and the spring, every time something sells, you'll be able to see what it sells for, and you'll be able to see in your area whether or not prices are going up and down. I think that would be very helpful. May I do that? So now you've gotten into this mode where you're asking permission along the way, but what you're suggesting or offering is logical. Presuming they're telling you the truth that down the line they'd still like to do something, you start off by, good, let me send you this information to help you sell it the next time. Yes. Good. Did you get it? Wonderful. Any questions? No. Wonderful. I was thinking that you should now have the continuous version of this. You got the pictures and properties, their details, but you should now continuously be staying up to that to see what's happening in your market. And when you get closer, I'd be happy to have Gail visit and give you some tips and tricks based on around our 7 steps. So the key that you're asking is, what is the offer after they got it that I can get there? It's what they want. They want information, pictures and details about properties. What they need is your insight along the way. So from time to time when they're getting that, hey, Danny, did you see that one on 123 Main Street over there in Palo Alto, right down the street from you? That was a pretty big number. I know you were worried about the market, but that'll tell you things are still going on. See? It's just all about the information. We're trying to be these weirdo creative marketers that have to say some weird thing when all these people want is the information that affects them. And wonderful if you can add the insight on top of it. Now you're building relationship of trust as the expert, and you're blocking out the competition, because most people don't want to do that with multiple parties. Got it?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you so much for that, because I've been, like I said, it's been a trend for the last 2 weeks. Everybody's pulling the house off the market, and it's because the market's changed and they're renting or leasing or something.
And I think that's a wonderful thing for you, because all those people are going to go into a void. And 99% of the real estate agents are not going to make any kind of offer that helps them along the way, tease the ball up for the spring, the summer, whatever it is. 99% of the people are going to do nothing to help that huge conglomeration of people sitting there. So if you do, the winter or the holiday season becomes this incredible opportunity to build multiple relationships through the delivery of information and the addition of insight. It's a massive opportunity to build pipeline for the whole following year. Got it?
Got it. Yeah, I see. I knew there was something here. I just didn't know what it was. So thank you for
clarifying. Always default to what they want, pictures and details of properties. And if you can make that convenient for them, get it to them from the source MLS, you become the heroine of the situation, right? You're it. You're the one that they appreciate. And it's tough to cheat on somebody they appreciate that's been working for them.
Thank you, Danny.
You're welcome. All right. Adam Kuchik or Chris Kleber, I'm going to ask one more time. I know Kuchik was online at one point in time, but he sent me something that did not have a link attached to it. So Adam, if you're still on, I couldn't find it. Otherwise, I'll go to the next question. And I would love it from an outside sales agent who has an anecdote for me in the field, like a listing presentation, dealing with a difficult negotiation, a buyer, whatever it might be. Throw me something here.
Hey, Danny.
Yep, go ahead.
You remember that really difficult listing I was having, and I told you that I was considering firing the client, and then you said, no, don't do that. Well, I eventually did. And the reason being is the house was really a mess. Tenants had trashed it, and she was very slow about getting anything done. And it just wasn't moving. We were holding it open every single weekend. And then the final straw for me came when it was in a bad area, and an agent called me and said, hey, someone broke into this rental and took the doorknob and took your key box. And I'm like, oh, dang. And I'm like, okay. So this was on a Tuesday. So I called the client, and she said, okay, well, I'll have my boyfriend go and look at it. She calls me on Thursday, and I call her on Thursday saying, hey, we want to have the house open again this Saturday. Is that okay? She goes, well, have you replaced the doorknob on my house? And I was like, why would I do that? She goes, well, you said you were going to take care of everything with this listing. And I'm like, well, I I meant everything with the having to do with the listing, not your home repairs. I wouldn't replace the window so they threw a rock through it. And so at that point, I just thought this person's either crazy or I mismanaged expectations, and I'm not sure if it was a combination of both. But I just called her back and said I didn't think it was a good fit anymore, and so could I handle it differently?
Yeah, but hold on. All right, hold on. You set me up for failure there. You told me to do something. I didn't listen. I did it. I would never have told you not to fire somebody that starts to try to abuse you, right? So that's the first point there is, somebody's trying to abuse you and overly use you, and they're not listening. And, this is the problem we get when we get into these types of clients that we don't set up correctly. But let's go back and do an autopsy of, did you do everything right? Is this the avatar type of thing? Because Paul, where I come from with all these, thoughts, this goes all the way back to, how did this relationship start? And is it an ideal avatar for you, right? I mean, and what process did we put them through? I think all those questions really matter to be able to take a look at this. So go ahead, tell me a little bit about that.
She's been in our system for several years. She's an older lady. It's definitely not my avatar because it's an area that's 30 minutes.
Good. Okay, stop for a
Seattle.
second so we can pull marketing into the sales, as the beginning of the sales funnel. So I think a lot of people get frustrated in this business about sales, but they don't consider the marketing, whether formal or informal, intentional or unintentional, they did to achieve that lead to begin with. So what system brought her in? You say she's been in there for several years. What approach? What offer?
Oh, you're going to laugh. It was HBN.
Okay, so House Buyer Network, whose intent was to find distressed sellers. Well, you got exactly what you paid for, right? So, and in your diligent way and your ability, in your brain to not want to give up on a lead, you did a good job. You convert her. But from the very start, I just have to give everybody permission to not do that if that's not their expertise. And I'm not saying that distressed sellers aren't a wonderful avatar for somebody who wants them, right? Somebody who wants to go into these tougher areas. A lot of these people are renters. I just went through this whole exercise with one of my agents yesterday who decided to jump into the property management business and subsequently thinking that she could deal with investors. I'm like, okay, good. How much thought have you given to avatar? How much thought have you given to what could go wrong? Well, like anybody, the answer was not much. Right? And when you do, all of a sudden you recognize, oh my gosh, I just charted my course way over here. Doesn't mean property management, doesn't lead to rentals, but who is the avatar to buy the properties? You start bringing in everybody that, is a fly-by-night infomercial king or queen, buying everything with everybody else's money or some trick pony, some dog and pony show. Now, all of a sudden, that's the mentality you have allowed into your business. If you like it, and you can monetize it on a regular basis, fabulous. Knock yourself out. I would rather jump out a one-story window, right? Because I don't want to kill myself. I just want to hurt myself for making a stupid decision like that business-wise. So that's the idea, is that we don't take that moment to think. So I think now I would have said to you for your own, it's not like I want to rub your own or my own nose in the dog crap that we create, that situation being the dog crap, not the human. It's not like I want to stick our nose there, but I want to learn from it when it happens to me. I want to learn from it. And I want to say, I am miserable right now dealing with this person. And now this person's beginning to try to use me. And this is not the avatar. And I'm not going to try to change her. I'm not going to try to, debate her. I'm not going to try to tell her she's wrong. I'm just going to accept it as my mistake and going to say, look, we're just not a good fit. We're not seeing eye to eye. Quite frankly, I feel a little bit abused by you asking me that. When you said I would take care of everything, I meant everything that comes with selling the property. I'm not your property manager, and I'm also not the owner, right? You want me to go replace the doorknob and bill you? Sure. You want to pay for it and have me install it? Sure. Something reasonable, but this is not it. And this is not the business I'm in. So I can't serve you anymore. But I'd like to finish this properly because I got into it with you and there's some miscommunication. So do you need any help coordinating X, Y, or Z as part of my exit? And then you're done. But don't you ever forget what got you there. And if in your database, you are still from these sins of the past that you've created by bringing these people into your world, if you are continuing to try to convert those people because you have some guilt or you have some money paradigm that you can't just let go of a mistake. See, nature hates a vacuum. If we let go of that mistake that we make in our business, nature fills it with something better, knowing what we know today. This used to be my avatar. It's not today. Today, my avatar is this. And there are people coming into my database with this new avatar. I am better to cut all these people out. Maybe give them off to one of my agents if I explain it correctly and say to my agents, these are really tough leads. They're distressing leads, but you might be able to cut your teeth on them in between looking at a better avatar. So there's the thorough conclusion to a sin that was committed, back then. And when I say that, I mean a business sin, right? That makes sense, Paul?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It just, I paid for those leads way back when. They weren't cheap. And the systematic follow-up is pretty in place. So, you would get the quarterly or every 6-month newsletter, snapshots, and so we just kept in touch with her. But, I should have known right from the get-go, the house was a piece of shit, and it just wasn't anything I really wanted on my brand or whatever, but I was short on listings, so I took it, even at a price I didn't want to take it. So I got no one to blame for myself for this one, I think.
Well, not you think, for certain, but you came up with a money paradigm. And this is especially for all the team leaders who in the past, as this digital thing came like a whirlwind and confused a lot of people and sucked a lot of people in, and we got caught up in leads for the sake of volume, and we just compromised every sanity, every logical piece of our brain that we had to be strategic about marketing. You got to let it go. It's John Shields, my good friend, who was an early mentor at Realty Executives, said, look, okay, when you make a mistake, just write it off to the education fund. And it was one of the best lessons I ever got, because when you make a mistake, don't keep pounding. Well, I paid a lot of money for those things. Yeah, duh, we all did, right? We all did, but we made mistakes spending money. I highly recommend the book I'm listening to everybody right now, because it is an awesome, logical book, The Road Less Stupid, okay, by Cunningham. The Road Less Stupid. Just a business guy talking about all the mistakes that if he had just avoided the big mistakes, he could have fixed it. Well, sometimes in that process, Paul, we continue to commit the mistake almost like it's our own punishment. And if it's a money paradigm that we say, well, I'm such a penny pincher that I paid for them and I'm going to put in like Terry's game. Tomorrow, the next day, and the next day, there are people that you align with so much better, knowing what you know as a marketing sales company now, that you align with those people that need your help, that every minute that you actually, it's going to sound weird when I say this, you didn't do a good job for that lady because you're not a fit. Let that sink in. You didn't do the best job for that lady. There's somebody more suited to distressed sales sellers than Paul Cantu and the Cantu Group. So by taking it, we actually end up doing them a disservice, because there's probably somebody else who's going to put more time into that stuff and would have happily written a check for the doorknob. So I can make that case too, Paul. So this is much more about saying, why do you keep compromising, you being a generic term? Why do you keep compromising as business people, trying to keep doing business that compromises who you are? Well, everybody tells me I got to cut my teeth on rentals. Why? Why? Keep your day job at the bar. Keep your day job waiting tables, doing landscaping, doing something else, so that you build a business that you want. Sometimes when you get stuck in this compromised position because you made a wrong, an incorrect, an inaccurate decision, all of a sudden 5, 6, 10 years down the road, you're doing the same thing and you're wondering why. It's a decision process, right? So I would argue that most people that bought a lot of leads, you and Lee in particular in my world, are just still stuck there, right? And we're afraid to cut bait, as they say, and make a better decision. I wasn't. I walked this walk. Laura will tell you 7 years ago, I took this huge pile of distressed sale leads and I punted. When I moved off of agent office and I moved into this other place, I had a clean list of people that I could work with in a sales context. I dealt with far fewer people who were really interested in that dialogue, which sets up the sale. I'll just say this thousands of times over. And Laura, I don't know if Laura's on here with me today, but if she is, she can tell you the story. When you are really understanding your avatar, and that avatar is somebody who's, in our case, professional, appreciates a professional approach, a professional plan, and they, treat it. We got a referral the other day, Paul, that I have never seen. I haven't met the folks, and the property was sold in 6 days by this machine that probably treated them better than anybody else could ever in their history of real estate, simply because we knew who they were. We were prepared for them. And they fit in like a glove and everything went smoothly, right? And they definitely got top dollar. So I want to say that I don't make this up theoretically. I walk this walk. Now, that's the easiest one. The tough ones, I was sitting in somebody's house the other day listening, right? Because we have a tough situation. Even though the deal is consummated, we got to get her from here to there, and it's just tough. So they're not all easy, but she's still listening and she's still appreciating the heightened moment of her anxiety. She's still listening to that professional approach. And that's why I lean in. People say, oh, you're crazy. You're a therapist. You should get an extra bill. Even she said it to me. I said, nope, this is what I do. And as long as I can see that you're continuing to hear me, I have a chance to help you out of an incredibly difficult situation. And that's why I do what I do. That's how important all this is, Paul, right? It's just that important to stick to understanding who sets you up for success on the client side of this. And every minute that you don't work on that, all you're doing is procrastinating success. Because success is determined by a good dance partner, buyer, seller, or agent. You're understanding that on the agent side of things right now, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, in this case, as a team leader who has agents who are hungry, but maybe also wouldn't be the best fit because they might not have experience, is it even worth referring it to one of them?
Yes.
So they can have a hack at it, or is that just setting them up for failure?
It is. That's why I said it. And I said it with caution. If you didn't explain to them why you no longer do this business, then that's it. Me? I think that this sense of who the company is and what type of person it wants to do business with and why that helps the agent you just recruited in, why would we then do the complete opposite and give them something completely opposite with the threat that if I throw a new agent on a distressed sale that I wouldn't want to do myself, now they go and their perception of my business is that I throw the crappiest stuff to them. What do you think they're thinking?
No, I agree with you. I was hoping that was what you were going to say, because I wouldn't wish this person upon anybody, especially one of my agents.
Well, you would,
She was unreasonable.
but Paul, you would if you knew somebody out there that was an agent that specialized in this stuff. I know some agencies that specialize in distressed sellers. I can name them right here publicly. I've known these folks over, hold on, let me finish. I've known these folks over Today Real Estate, Team 300, the entirety of my business career. If somebody asked me, and I'll say it publicly right here, if somebody asked me who's very good at distressed sellers, I would say them, and I wouldn't even blink. Would I say they're better at it than me? Absolutely. I have zero interest in ever being an REO broker. Zero. You heard me say it publicly. Never. I dabbled. I understood it wasn't me, and I would be more than happy to just send them over to those folks. So that's how strongly I feel.
What I'm trying to get at is that this lead came from a distressed sale platform.
Understood.
Years ago, but it was not a distressed sale. It was just a rental that you needed to get rid of that was behind your house.
But it was a distressed sale. So, you're missing the point. In some case, it was a distress. It's in a lousy neighborhood. It got beaten up by people. It's getting vandalized. That's not distress. Of course it is. Finish. Distress can be the person. Distress can be the neighborhood. Distress can be the property. It's a distress situation. It is not a teed up, beautiful, look at, I can walk into a $2 million listing I have. It is gorgeous. And there is nothing distressed about my client. There's nothing distressed about the neighborhood. There's nothing distressed about the property. Nothing. We're just trying to make a market for that type of property. That's it. I would like to do that business all day, every day.
I was equating distress with REO. That's
sure.
What I meant. So yeah, I get it.
And my point was, don't do that. Understand that all of it's distress. If you're dealing with a person who's in distress themselves and that's why they're moving, now you're asking your agent to go in somewhere. And if that person doesn't appreciate that your solution to their distress is a plan, and they keep just yelling at you and you're not doing this, they're not your avatar. That's not it. So why do you think I made let me tie this together. I made a big deal with Terry today saying, I know you didn't even read the book yet. You're talking about getting the book and just stuffing it in the envelope. That was her mind going. I said, whoa, slow down. Be the first example. Send the package to Karen's house. Send the package to Terry's house. Experience what it's like and then pretend, you're distressed with sickness. You're distressed with divorce. You just want to move and get sick and tired of professional approach. Whatever it is, you have to experience you as the solution for the ideal person, right? So I'm just telling you, and I bit my tongue and I've, gone through this ride with you. And this is a good exercise for everybody here because you're a pro. You've been around this a long time. But your marketing mistakes that gave you people like this, you're trying to plow through those. I would warn everybody, listen to our conversation. Don't do that. I just warned one of my own agents. You're going right down the ladder with people who are up watching infomercials all night. And she said, yeah, you're right. There's already been people that try to call me and pick my brain so they could go do it themselves. I said, ta-da. I've seen the movie a few times. I've had a few tipping points on this thing, right? I mean, thousands of hours. Forget 10. It's got to be some X number of 10. It's the same patterns of behavior, but the one person that's in full control of charting a new course, asking better questions, getting a better strategy is us. That's it. Right? So you're right to have the natural reaction. Do not take the garbage that you created. I said the same thing to Lee. I don't know if he's on today, but it was the same thing. Why are you giving your inside sales telemarketing staff all these old distress sale leads? What are you doing? You wouldn't do them today, would you yourself? Is that what you would buy today? Is that what you would call today? Then why are you hiring people, spending your money to go and fix them? And I know what he would say and you would say, but I made some money from it. Really? You have no idea how much you lost from it because your heart's not in it. Your heart has evolved into something else. Really important stuff. Very important topic when it comes to setting the right sale up. Because then once you're in the house with the right person, you know it. Then when you're in the field with the right person, I have some fabulous buyers right now that I don't care if it takes them 12 months because every time we go out, we're in line. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Final questions here today. I'll go for a round. I got about 5 more minutes here. I'd like to hear, I don't want a burning question. Don't sit here and tell me, oh, he was on there. He was talking about something else. I'm here for you. Ask your questions now. We got a 5-minute bonus round here. Go ahead.
Hey, Danny.
I'm here, Chris. Chris, whatever it is with your mic, hold on. Whatever it is with your mic, get that settled first so that everybody hears you clearly. And then we're good. Good? All right, yeah, much better. Go ahead.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. So just had looking for conversion tips to convert one that is a past client a couple of transitions ago, if that makes any sense, that we know is moving, has moved, but is basically shutting us out at the time. Basic history of this lead is another one of these people, it's a husband and wife with a couple of young under 5 kids. The husband's someone I go back with 20 years and helped him buy his place 20 years ago. Then he moved on. About 5 years ago, he popped up out of the woodwork and said, hey, I've got married. We're looking for a new place. That was back when I was under the former coach, and the idea was to give away all of our buyer leads to an agent on the team.
Yep.
And we were traveling a lot 5 years ago, so basically we handed him to a then team member who's not a current team member, and that team member helped him buy a house. And then 2 years ago, much to our chagrin, that former team member who had since left went off and sold that house for them and helped them buy the house they're in. Well, this couple obviously still likes us because they still invite us to their social events and whatnot. About a week ago, they posted on Facebook, husband accepted a job a couple hours down the road in Lexington. We're packing today, we're moving tomorrow, and all excited about doing this. Reached out to both of them and just spoke to the wife and said, hey, would like to get some information in your hands that affects your value and share with you a copy of our strategic plan. She's like, I'm packing, too busy to talk, can't talk right now, call me next week. Called her this week. I'm eating dinner, very brusque, very abrupt. I said, no problem. Just and then I did drop off the plan to her.
I was just going to suggest that. Good. Keep going. Good.
Yeah. And so then I followed up with her a couple evenings ago per her request. Got a very brusque, abrupt, I'm eating dinner, can't talk right now. No worries. Just wanted to make sure you got the package. You had a chance to look at the package. Can't talk right now. I'm not thinking about this. Okay, great. No problem. I'll call you back a little bit later if that works. I'm just really not thinking about this until after the new year. It's just not even on my radar. I don't want to talk about it. Well, I can keep you updated as to sales in the neighborhoods. You stay abreast of the market till then. If they get your current email, no, don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, well, you push right there. Right there's the first mistake. She was giving you some real no's in a real time frame. That was too much. You got the package in her hands. She probably doesn't want to move based on what she's doing, or she doesn't want you. It's one or the other. She's really upset. Hold on, let me finish. She's really upset with the situation or doesn't like you. Which one do you think it is?
I don't think it's what they don't like us. Like I said, we got invited to the July 4th party, right? Invite people you don't like the July 4th party.
Okay, so what do you think it is, Chris? Because you kept pushing her for what you wanted. So I think in the first couple of beats, it was okay. But when she puts you off for about the third time and gives you a clear date, I don't want to think about this till January 1. Okay? Wonderful. Would it be okay if I call you then? Is there anything else I could do in the meantime to help you? Just slow it down a little bit. Back it down a little bit. And I appreciate what you're doing. You're trying to go through all these suggestions we do each week on the sales training call. You're trying to get her the information, but you're sort of rushing it and throwing it up. We only do that when we feel the timing is natural and right, because it's what we want. Offer is what we want. May I send you some information that will help you sell it? That's our offer. We want to be able to do that. It's about us. Even though it's about them, it'll help you sell it the next time without us. May I do that? Yes. May I call you back in a week to make sure you get it? Yes. Did you get it? Yes. Do you have any questions or thoughts about it? Yes. Here's what I think. Wonderful. I was thinking, even though you're thinking about 6 months out, another prudent thing for me to do would be to keep you updated with properties as they sell. May I do that? No, I don't want it. No problem. When do you think would be an appropriate time to follow up as it gets closer? Period.
Got it. Yep.
It's just we have this ability to ebb and flow based on where they're going with us. And if we listen and respect that, it doesn't mean that we didn't make progress forward. It's just that they said, whoa, Trigger, take it easy, right? It's a sign. They're speaking to you. And it's not like we're guessing. They're explicitly saying, I don't want to think of this till Jan 1. Great, I can respect that. Let me know if there's anything I can do in the meantime. Otherwise, I'll just make a note to call you back after the holidays. May I do that? I think you're too afraid to hear, no, leave me alone, right? Period. I don't like you. Whatever we are afraid of. That's why I asked that question. At some point in time, I'll repeat this because I repeated earlier. Nature hates a vacuum. I'd rather know now that she doesn't like me or she does, right? Because you started off this whole thing. You biased me and everybody else on the call. You said, at one point in time, we gave this to another one of our agents and the agent sold. So is that your insecurity? That's why you set me up to ask you that question. Do you think that the other agent's sniffing around? Do you think she likes your old agent better than you? You must, because you brought it up. So you better vet that piece of it at some point in time.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, and they've already moved out of the house. So it's not that they don't want to sell. She doesn't view something else as a concern, or she's, for whatever reason, put it off. Don't know exactly how to vet the other piece of it as far as, hey, are you going to, without putting it directly on the table, hey, are you going to work with my former team member?
Direct message her. Direct message. No. Well, not even that yet. I agree at the right time, Alan. But send her a DM. say, hey, listen, obviously this move has, stressed you out with the holidays and everything. Is there a time that's appropriate for me to follow up to help you? Is there an opportunity for me to help you? Asking you, are you explicitly looking at other agents? Would there be an opportunity for me to help you sell the property, do you think? Just ask.
Right. Got it.
Just ask the right way.
Right. And you would think that would be an appropriate DM or text message this weekend and not
Yes.
wait till
Yes, I would.
January.
No, so sorry. So sorry to have bothered you with my telephone call. I thought maybe a direct message would be more appropriate. I just want to make sure that there's an appropriate time and an opportunity for you to help me. Let me know when you get a chance. Something like that.
Right.
Okay? All right, good work, everybody.
Sounds
Listen,
good.
I've got to call it a day here because I'm on a limited time today, and we are at 1 hour. Really good job for all of you that brought this up. And I know we got a little bit into database and avatar, but like if you want to be set up for sales, then you want to think about that. Am I in front of the right people? Am I saying the right things? Am I offering the right things? And the way to do that is get on the other side of it and listen to them. I wish I could have played some recordings today for telemarketing, but I did not have anybody who sent me the stuff speak up. So next week we'll pick up there, okay? Everybody have a wonderful Thanksgiving on the other side. I'll see my masterminders on Tuesday for the helpline. You want to take advantage of that. And I will do a sales training call next Friday. So I'll see you then. I know you probably be stuffed with turkey, but my Canadians at least will show up. All right, everybody, have a super afternoon. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Denny.
You're welcome. You're welcome.